Greetings from Berlin, my friends. I'm Andrea, astrologer, and we would like to talk today about a hot topic, which are the US elections. And this is November 5th, 2024. And I would like to give you an astro perspective from various angles in order to see what is the future of crypto, because this is directly linked to it now, especially that we have institutional money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and maybe this will expand. So let's go into it. Stay with me to see three astrological techniques which would really go into assessing what are the chances from one candidate and against the other, of course. And today I would like to say that it's September 15th, so it's quite early in the process. But I will share what the stars are revealing. We will go on the election day. Of course, the second method would be regarding the horoscopes of the candidates, especially with focus on that day, 5th of November 2024. And last but not least, it's a ancient Vedic election technique, which is based on D11 Ekadasamsha Iyer method, which would really say if a candidate can be elected or not in that time period. So let's go into all these. We do have the election day on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. It is a Tuesday. Tuesday is ruled by Mars, which is the planet of war, of fighting, of courage. It's a very competitive spirit for the day. And this is important to remark now, because we will use it later in our analysis. Now, who is more likely to win? We will employ three techniques. The first one would be really the election day, and it is seen as a competition. I would use a similar method to sports betting analysis, like for a soccer game. You can really know what is likely to happen at the end of the game. Of course, it's not always easy to discern, but it will give you an accurate view due to the fact that we do have the time of birth for the candidates, but are they really accurate? This is the question. And whatever is publicly available, we will analyze as well in regards to their horoscopes, but this is another technique that would really look from a different perspective to the whole story. And this is the North Indian chart as you see it. It's for the day, and it's cast for Washington, D.C. And it is for 7 a.m. because at least this is announced as the beginning of the voting for the day. And I would like to really say that we do have a Scorpio ascendant. As you see in the sidereal, I use the Krishnamurti KP Ayanamsha for this, and we do have an ascendant at 29 degree 27 minutes. So it's like at the end of something, with Mercury and Venus on the ascendant. And of course, we do have Saturn retrograde in Kendra, which is a angular house, so it's very powerful in Aquarius. And we said about Mars, which is in the 9th house of law in Cancer. It's technically debilitated, but we would like to say that it is a very strong Mars. And why is this so? Because we do have here the Shad Bala, which is the strength of the planets that are computed mathematically with points that you see majority of them are above 1. And the energy of the day, the strongest, is built by Saturn, as you see, and the second is by Mars, which is really, you see it from the bar chart, and it is visible that Saturn would also point towards some seniority, so a senior person, which is in power already, because we do have a Saturn retrograde, or was before. So I would interpret it like this. And Mars is a very competitive candidate that would be there. And let's see how this would really unfold. So just to remember, Saturn and Mars for the day are the most potent energies, and we will really look at the candidates, how do they cope with these energies according to their birth chart. And we would like to say that, this is not a lesson, and I don't want to go into the analysis of a competition like for a soccer game, like we did for the election day, starting at 7 a.m., which would be the beginning of voting. And I would like to say that it is a very tight fight, and the underdog would be likely to win, but it's a tight victory. This means that the advantage would be really small, and I think there would be possibly also an element of surprise from the crowd, because we see here Uranus and Jupiter both retrograde. It's like a deja vu in Taurus, and somehow it will have a financial dimension associated with it, but it could be disruptive. And this is quite an extensive method that would compute the birth chart and the Navamsha. Navamsha D9 is the fruit of the birth chart, and it shows the result. Now, I do not know who would be the favorite. The favorite can really change, but the favorite will also be the one that is considered always on the ascendant, and the dog would be the 7th house. I'm inclined to say that here I see a advantage towards the underdog, and with this I cannot really say who. It depends on the betting scores and quotas, who would be considered the favorite at that time. So I hope this was interesting. So let's go now into horoscopes, so to speak. And of course, the election day is the starting point, and I would like to do a day comparison between these two candidates. We talk, of course, about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, both of them having a sort of deja vu, so as a former president and vice president currently with this retrograde energy. So both of them, somehow, the energy of the day with so many retrogrades would really, and especially the Saturn retrograde, which is about the law and the authority, would really show this seniority somehow. Yes, there is previous experience in the game, and this is valid for both candidates at different levels, but it is there. Now we do have Saturn and Mars. If you remember, they have the strongest Shad Bala in terms of strength for the day. And Saturn is a symbol for senior people. It's about age, yes. So this would be really, the more senior from them is Donald Trump, and then Mars would be in general younger people. It's a masculine energy, but it's also a representation here of the younger person. So it would be rather Kamala Harris would be Mars, if I would really make a difference between these two planets in the game. And how do they cope with these energies on the day? So it's about Saturn and Mars. Let's go into that. Donald Trump in his natal chart has Saturn with the weakest Shad Bala. And Mars is very strong. It is the second planet in terms of strength in his horoscope, the strongest one being the Sun, which is the king. It has this kingly nature and assertive nature. It's like maybe one of the triggers that really brought him the first round as a president. Then Kamala Harris has also Mars very strong in her chart, and it has a stronger Shad Bala than Donald Trump, because you saw that these are computed, so we can compare the numbers. You will see them in a minute. And Saturn is also weaker than Mars in her case, but it is much stronger than Donald Trump's Saturn Shad Bala. I would say for the day, Kamala will be more comfortable in terms of the energy, because we do have Mars and Saturn stronger for her as given from birth, and now it will be really influenced for the day in a positive manner. And now I would like to go into a head-to-head comparison of the aspects for the day as well, and to put also this in perspective. So Mars and Saturn, the most important energies, the strongest. We have Mars strong in Donald Trump's chart, and stronger even in Kamala Harris' chart. This is based on Shad Bala again. Then we do have Saturn, which is weak in the case of Donald Trump, and it's medium in the case of Kamala Harris. And on the day, we do have also other planetary influences. I take only the aspects that are really exact on the day for the respective horoscopes. So in the case of Donald Trump, we do have Uranus sextile Venus. It's an outer planet that is concerning surprises and turnarounds, so sudden things that happen. And Venus is about relationships, I would say. So it's the way he is in front of the people who elect him, you know, or maybe would give the vote to the other candidate. So Venus is this relationship that the politicians have with the masses, with the people. And this is a very positive aspect. It's quite rare. And this is because Uranus has an orb of 84 years to cross the whole zodiac. So it's not something which happens each day. So it's a very, very interesting, special day in this regard, so to speak. But at the same time, Venus in the sky opposes the Sun, which is the ultimate authority. So it's like Venus, which is again a relationship, also the benevolence of the crowds, it's somehow opposite. So there are a lot which are sort of against. So in a way, we do have this opposition, which is strong astrologically, but the fact that Uranus is an outer planet, usually I would say that Uranus, this element of surprise, could really prevail, and we see this also in the competition chart of the election day, if you remember on the first slide. Then we do have Sun sextile Uranus for Kamala Harris. This is actually, the Sun would really point towards victory in general, and it has a benevolent, it's low intensity as well, aspect towards Uranus. And again, a sort of surprise element, or she would do something that is quite innovative around the day. She would say something that is super smart and would really conquer people. This is, though, in my opinion, because Uranus is a generational planet, it's not very personal, it really loses some of the strength, to put it like this. Therefore, the candidates, I would say, they do have mixed days, but both of them would have chances in a way. Still, I do think Donald would be really the one who wins here. Therefore, I put him in green. So from this perspective, I think the whole setup is a bit better for him because of this Uranus aspect, which is mainly very important. And it has this financial dimension to it, because Uranus is in Taurus, in the sidereal Taurus. It has this connotation of, okay, finance would be the things which would really move the needle, so to speak. Now, the next topic is we would like to really analyze the dashas, or the time periods in the life of these candidates. What is really running on the 5th of November 2024? For Donald Trump, it's a Jupiter-Venus period, and for Kamala Harris, it's a Rahu-Venus period. Both of them are quite strong in the horoscopes of these candidates, and you see this Venus about relationships. It's quite activated. So this means that in general they do have this capacity to propagate, to really liaise with people, to get people on their side. So from this point of view, it is a clean energy for propagating, going out and really making a case. Yeah, so it's about Venus, and Venus is also a representation of a one-to-one situation, so to speak, like a win-win situation. Okay, we can both win. Now for Jupiter, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's like a very clean energy in a way, so it would give really growth, and it's a planet that would be a trigger for victory in general, and it's quite well placed, I would say. So this is a good point. Here they are pretty equal, I would say, because Kamala has Rahu, which is on the ascendant, actually in I think it is in the D11, we will see in a minute, and Rahu is a more let's say, explosive energy that is not so orthodox in a way. So things happen, but they happen in a original manner, some in a different manner. But Rahu is a shadow graha, how we call it. So it's not a planet, it's a mathematical point, but it is a point of destiny, which is also not to neglect. So I would say here both have their strengths and weaknesses, and we will see further what will happen. Now this is the horoscope of Donald Trump, which is according to the public information, and we do see some planets. I want you to focus on them. It's about Jupiter and Venus. And we will look also at Mars and Saturn. So first of all, Jupiter and Venus are very strongly activated. So you see here Jupiter retrograde in the sidereal Virgo in the second house with Neptune retrograde. So this is really the power of vision, the power of fulfillment in terms of values, in terms of financial matters that you can see, throughout his life. So this really came to fruition. And then we do have the Venus influence, which is here in the 12th house, which is not the best house. It's in Cancer, together with Saturn, and we have Pluto and Gulika. So this Venus-Pluto combination really gives a strong personality, strong psyche that would really help him see his vision, his power, and really go towards the vision that he has in the second house about Jupiter. So the 12th and the second house, which are really near the ascendant, and the ascendant is really with Mars on it. And this is a strong placement for the energy of the day. So this means that he has a very competitive spirit on the day, but I think this is really the usual case in general, so it's not really a surprise. Then we do have also another element that we would like to look at, which is this weak Saturn, which is in the 12th house. It's near Venus. This would really show a sort of conservative approach in relationships in a way, and from a certain angle, I think it can be related to. But for the day, again, we do have two planets in the 12th house, which is also the house of loss. And we do have Mars, which is on the first, it's very powerfully placed in this case, and Jupiter in the second house. So this is the situation. I would say it's not the best. It's not the best in a way, and it is really what the horoscope, the birth chart promises. So it's not the best, the luckiest day for sure. Then we do have Kamala with Rahu, Venus. I want to focus on these, and of course Mars and Saturn. So Rahu is again on the ascendant. it's very powerful in this case. Again, it is assertive, it is really out of the blue, it's about destiny, it's about sudden changes and evolution that can really happen to change the whole path in life, which is about Rahu. And it gives something, usually, it won't take from you, so this is also important to notice. Then we do have Venus in her chart, and Venus is in the third house. Also with Pluto, you see the same combination, and with Uranus, the element of surprise. So what do we have here? We do have a Venus which is in the proud Leo in the third house. This means that the relationships are constructed in a very strong way. She knows where she is, where the others are in general, and it is a very powerful combination for politics in general. So also the talk in a motivating way. You can motivate people with such placement in terms of building your reputation and relationships here. But the third house in general is not the best house because it's the eighth from the eighth. It would really show a sort of ending. So this is a minus point, so to speak here. So it points towards loss as well. We do have also the positions of Saturn and Mars to consider. Mars is in the second house, debilitated in Cancer. So we see again the second house theme. So this shows a focus on finance. It's a more maternal and nourishing energy here for sure from Cancer, but it's also very determined because of Mars placed here. So this is not a strong position, I would say, and Saturn is in the ninth house, which is the house of luck, and it is a very strong Saturn, and you see it's a sort of closure to a Saturn return currently. This happens around the age, so it's not a surprise. So the Saturn would really give a test, but it's in a very lucky place for her house, so to speak, and horoscope. Because of the ninth house and the first house, there are two Kendra and Trikon, basically, which are very positive houses. The other two you see are weaker for sure, but it's two houses that are really strong. So here I think I would say that she would really win the game. And we do have also the last one, which is Eka, the Samsha. In general, this works, especially if the time of birth is correct. This is the technique from Ayer for predicting elections. So it's quite tailored to this situation of presidency, but it can be used maybe for other election types as well. So here, what do we see? We see Donald Trump with the Jupiter-Venus period. This is here very important to analyze the period in the life of the candidates, which is again very tightly linked to the time of birth. So this needs to be correct. Otherwise, it can be different. So we do have Jupiter-Venus. Jupiter is in the seventh house, as you see here in a D11 Ayer. And we do have Venus in the second house. And this method would really say that a candidate would really win the election if we do have in the 11 a Kendra or the 11th house. Kendra means this the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. So these are the diamonds of the Kendra houses in the North Indian style, as you can see it. So we have Jupiter in Kendra, which is the Mahadasha, but the Antardasha, so the sub-period of Venus, is in the second house, which is not a Kendra, and it's not the 11th house. So this means that he won't win regarding this method, so he would not be elected. So now the question is, would really be Kamala elected? So let's analyze this as well. One needs to win, isn't it? So Kamala, according to this method, we do have here the Rahu-Venus period to analyze. And the Rahu is, as you see, in the ascendant, which is the first house and its Kendra, remember the big diamonds. Venus, it's also in Kendra, it's the fourth house. So this really shows the victory according to the Ekadasamsha D11 Iyer method. Now, I would like to summarize a bit and have some closing thoughts on the analysis. The first point would be the fact that if the birth time is correct, I would say in both cases, actually, it has to be, but especially Kamala, then she would be the winner. This is usually the higher technique works if the time of birth is correct. Then I would like to say that we do have also an element of surprise, and it depends who is the favorite of the betting houses on the topic at that time, which can change, I would say, a lot from what is recorded today, September 15th, but I wanted to give an outlook. And in that case, it could be that we do have this element of surprise and the other candidate, not the favorite, so we call it underdog, would really win. But the battle would be really close. It would be a really tight fight, tight victory in any case. This is what the competition day really shows as a difference between these. So it's interesting to see what happens, and I hope this was interesting for you to see. Thank you so much for your attention, for liking and subscribing. It helps the channel, and until next time, be joyful. See you.